Okay, I'm going to start with the back of the Irish Independent. And Munster issue hands-off warning to Leinster over star scrum half. This is an interesting story. Munster have issued a hands-off warning to Leinster after the rival province attempted to sign one of their brightest prospects, Craig Casey. The Irish Independent understands that Leo Cullen is a keen admirer of the 20-year-old scrum half and has sounded out Casey's interest in joining Leinster. And obviously he's been offered a development contract and will get a full contract the following year. So he's... would you say that's properly fending off interest? They're going to give you a development contract as opposed to catapulting you straight through. It's that time of the year where players get interest from different clubs all the time. Pogba wants out, but United to demand 160 million sterling. I mean, you can demand your 160 million sterling. You can put whatever price tag you want on it, but unless there's a market for them, there's nothing happening. What have you got for us?
The Irish Times this morning leads with Kevin McStay's column. It's back, and he says football needs to move on from old rituals. And he's kind of got some mixed emotions about the game in New York. He appreciates how great an experience it is for the players, for the management, and especially for the supporters who go over.
And the fundraisers.
And for the fundraisers. It was interesting to see, like, when you go over there as a top-tier county, you actually have to tog off in your suit for the ball on Friday night. I see the Mayo players had to show up to that. Daisha aim to make most of homecoming. They're playing back at Walsh Park this weekend. And Liam Kearns believes Tipperary have strongest panel to date.
Companies vote from the blue. Yeah, it's the Times, it's okay. Cronin and Lowe boost for Leinster. This is good news for Leinster ahead of the Champions Cup final against Saracens, which you can hear live on Newstalk on Saturday evening. Leinster looks set for a double boost before the Heineken Champions Cup final, with James Lowe and Sean Cronin expected to start Saturday's game. So Cronin obviously had a calf strain, but now appears to be fine. The back page of the Irish Daily Star this morning goes with one more Vin. Kompany screamer puts City on the brink, and Connolly return is imminent, says Carl O'Kane. So interesting reports in the Irish Daily Star this morning that speculation mounting around Diarmuid Connolly's return, set to rejoin the Dublin squad. Sources indicating to the Star that a return has already been agreed in principle and is imminent. It could come as early as tonight, says Carl O'Kane, with a training session penciled in for this evening. And there's some other information in this as well. Dublin players have all been wearing GPSs while playing for their clubs, and apparently Connolly was spotted wearing a GPS system playing for St Vincent's during the April club month. It indicated that Connolly was being monitored with a view to a return to the Sky Blue setup. Yeah, that doesn't tally with the information that we had about the GPS. So we heard the same rumours about the GPS stuff and then checked them out and couldn't stack them up, couldn't find anybody to say that was the case. In fact, found somebody to say that wasn't the case. So we didn't run with that. But just the speculation around Diarmuid Connolly is intensifying, it's fair to say. But I think it was because Jim Gavin said we would love to have him back. And we were looking back, you had asked Jim Gavin about whether or not, in the aftermath of the story that incorrectly said that Jason Sherlock was leaving the Dublin setup, when was that, February?
February.
Yeah, so you had gone down to the Kerry match, the Dublin-Kerry game in Tralee, and in the post-match Scrum had asked him specifically, one of the other claims in was doing the rounds at the time, that Brian Cullen had been training with Diarmuid Connolly.
Yeah, one-to-one sessions apparently, I think was the report.
Flat out denial.
Yeah.
That has not been happening.
Yeah.
I don't think this has been happening either, but the GPS, as far as I know. But certainly that was not a, we'd love to have him back. That was like, no, that's not happening.
Something seems to have changed in the tone.
A massive shift in tone to, yeah, we would love to have him back, as opposed to. So that struck me as like Jim Gavin wants him back. Jim Gavin feels confident that it's going to happen in the next while. And really, the football championship needs it, right? Come on, the best player playing in the competition.
No question, the football championship will be better off for it. Like whether or not it needs it, I don't know. I'm staying optimistic. I'm kind of on your side of the fence here that it's going to be a lot better than last year, whether or not Diarmuid Connolly's in or out. But there was no question that a championship that involves Diarmuid Connolly is going to be a hell of a lot more exciting than one without him.
Yeah.
And let's not forget his age profile as well. Like, if he is going to come back at some point, we want him back sooner rather than later so that we get the most out of the last few years of his career.
Yeah. Is that a picture from the club game recently? Do we know? Is that this month? That picture taken this month? Because you can't see any GPS there, can you? You'd be able to tell because that kind of looks like you've got moves if you're wearing GPS. And I mean, he doesn't. So anyway, right. Mike Quirk, another season of provincial massacres will see calls for change grow deafening, which is a fair point. Is that the old rituals that in the Irish Times, not
Basically.
just a trip to let's get rid of the provincial championships.
I would need to actually just double check to see if that's what he's actually said.
Bolt from the blue. Companies bolt from the blue. Come on, lads, come on. We can do better. Seamus Bannon tweets us, if cometh the, with a K, special K, if cometh the hour, cometh the man, is that a headline read out on Off the Ball AM in the morning and people aren't doing headlines right? Hashtag OTBAM, Seamus Bannon. Vincredible is the headline this morning on
Manchester Evening News.
Manchester Evening News. Skipper puts Blues on verge of title with stunner. Report, reaction, ratings. 44, 45, 46, 47. 4 pages. Is that all?
Really? It's actually not a lot at all.
No, come on. The Racing Post did 16 on Ruby. Come on.
The back page of the Mirror is we're going to win the league. Skipper Stunner puts Blues on the brink. And Klopp's special brew. Teen star could get chance to inspire Euro miracle. And lights out for Ole. Dutch sensation Matthijs de Ligt has rejected a move to Manchester United. This was the big talk. You know, Rio Ferdinand is director of football. His first port of call was going to be to go to de Ligt's house, knock on his door and hand him a blank cheque and say, you write whatever you want on this piece of paper and we'll pay you. It turns out he doesn't want to go to United.
This is more like it. Thunderstrike. We all know what they mean. They mean thunder bastards. That's what they mean in the Herald, but they can't say it because they've got a little bit of decorum. No Mo hope for Europe. Mo Salah out with concussion, so fair play to Liverpool for not risking him because, many other clubs would put him back out there. Klopp, we're not giving up on Dream. Jurgen Klopp had some good comments about failing more beautifully over the course of the week. And did we get to the Suarez story yet? No, it's next. Okay, go on.
The Sun leads with title winner. Skipper's rocket fires City top. I wonder will Brighton and Hove Albion have this sort of stuff up on the dressing room wall? Title winner. Did they think they've won the league? It did feel.
I would put it up on the dressing room wall in the City rooms. Like, oh, congratulations, big banners, champagne open on the table, all that kind of stuff. That's what I would do.
Smell the champagne. You can have a sip if you just get the job done here.
No, you don't even need to have it now. Sure, what do you need to do? Have as much as you want, lads.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, like it did feel that Leicester City were playing with an enthusiasm last night for completely being party poopers. It helps that they're away from home.
Yeah.
Like maybe they won't have that same atmosphere in the Amex because, it's not the Etihad Stadium, like that kind of sense that...
If it's a sunny day, everybody going to the beach.
Yeah, like I'm sure there's plenty of people in that Leicester squad who would have just loved to have seen those smiles destroyed by Manchester City players last night.
Yeah, of course.
There's something in that, and there is something in going to the ground and actually trying to do that. Doesn't really work the same when you're at home.
You'd be heroes to your own team. What a great end to the season it would be, safe and crowning the champions, except somewhere else. So Captain Fantastic, it's all very sedate, isn't it?
Yeah, like what like Vincent Kompany, I guess if you're thinking about puns, there's a ton you could go to. Or maybe the sub-editors this morning are actually trying to bite their tongue. Maybe they're thinking we're saving all the good stuff for next Monday morning when it's officially confirmed.
Yeah, you're on to go to your last headline, Alan. Tell you.
But you may only have one good headline. I suppose you could recycle them again. We won't remember them next Monday.
Exactly, and Vincent Kompany's not going to be the man who does it next week. John Duggan had loads last night. Vincent Van Gogh, Great Company, Belgique Magnifique, Company Man, and Vincent Vegas.
Belgique Magnifique is my favourite.
Captain Fantastic is the headline in the Daily Telegraph. And silent striker, why Suarez will not celebrate if he scores for Barcelona at Anfield tonight. Because he already celebrated after he knocked you guys out in the first place. That's why. He's like, oh, my job is done. He's already dead, is the Simpsons meme you're looking for.
The back page of the Irish Daily Mail goes with amateur power. Gavin is firmly against semi-professionalism, so he's launched a staunch defence of the amateur ideal, I should say, in light of recent comments by GPA executive Paul Flynn. He says we've over 20 clubs represented in our current squad. The pride that I know that is out there, and that's in every county, the pride that clubs will have looking at their players in every county throughout the island of Ireland, and indeed New York and London as well, to see their club players who they have taken from the cradle and brought all the way through. That's phenomenal. So players should be playing for pride, not for money. And one more win is their headline on Manchester City 1, Leicester City 0.
One more win. Anyway,
they need one more to actually win.
I know, I get it.
Is there like Q tourism going on from newspapers?
I don't know. It's the same. It's the same in all of them. Captain Fantastic, Captain Marvel. So Marvel is the slightly more up to date, just with what's going on with the. This is the Guardian. It's still kind of disappointing, right? I mean, come on.
Okay, so what are you going for? You've got 5 minutes to write a headline. This is going to be the biggest splash you ever do in Manchester City. What are you going for?
I don't know. I'm starting with my worst one is Kompany Man, and then I'm moving up after that. And it beats Captain Marvel, Captain Fantastic. I'm going with Thunder Bastard if I have my way, but obviously you can't.
Kompany Man is one of the most ordinary headlines you can.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a company's boat from the blue, or it's like Captain Marvel or Captain Fantastic. That's what I'm saying.
The Racing Post go with a match preview for the Champions League tonight. Red herring is their headline on the back page. Liverpool likely to fall short of another miracle despite fast start. They're up against Barcelona at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Do you want to get into a couple of the stories this morning? The Irish Independent and
this one where Leinster are going to try and steal some of Munster's best players. What do you think of this story? How we'll talk around the about this in a couple of minutes. How realistic do you think the prospect this is? That Leinster, who have quite a few scrum halves around this age, are looking at the under 20 team who won the we did the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
And Casey, the scrum half from Munster. Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah, well, I mean, just ringing it up, going, here, come on, Conor Murray's going to be around for like 12 years. You've got no chance of getting into that team.
It's interesting timing, isn't it, given at the start of the year sending Nick McCarthy down to Munster?
Yeah, so is that next season?
Next season.
So next season there is a Leinster scrum half who's going to be on the bench fighting it out to be the number 2 to Conor Murray.
Mm-hmm. Like the detail, it's Cian Tracy who's obviously got information here, and he talks about Munster issuing a hands-off warning to Leinster. And apparently, according to this report, Leinster have actually attempted to sign Craig Casey. So Leo Cullen's a big admirer of him. He's 20 years old, and Munster have actually stepped in and they've been proactive about this, offering him offering him a development contract, I should say, a full senior deal set to be on the table for the following year after next year.
I mean, if they were being proactive, they would tie him down to a 3-year deal right now. That's how that works. That's what being proactive means. It's not like, here, we'll give you a development contract, because like, I'll give you more than a development contract.
Can they just throw around those contracts at will, though?
I think that you're not supposed to.
No.
You're not supposed to compete against each other. Oh, you're full-time. Well, if you think he's that good. If this was an English club coming in now, right, which could really happen, you would give him a proper full-time contract, wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. Whereas because it's only an Irish club, you're like, he's not going to do that. That's not going to happen.
To be fair, like, he was a scrum half in a Grand Slam winning underage team. The chances of this guy reaching huge potential is obviously quite high, and there's obviously something that Leinster are seeing in this guy. Like, without being too defeatist from a Munster point of view, if Leinster are interested enough to make an approach for this guy, he's probably good enough for you to be interested enough to give him a lengthy enough deal, especially given he'll probably reach his peak just as Conor Murray is coming out of the red jersey.
Yeah, and I'd like to see what level that interest really was, but like, is it official? None of this stuff is ever official because you can't go on the record as saying, I want another team's players. You just can't do that. So, like, that would suggest that it's come from back channels or leaks, and leaks on whose side, and ultimately who benefits from the leaks. Craig and his agents benefit from the leak, So, we're starting to see this in rugby as much as we ever saw it in football. Probably not quite as much, but like, it's in. I would be really surprised if Leinster, beyond doing due diligence to go, what's the story? Is he staying? What's the length of his contract?
What if this actually happens? So, say in an imaginary world where Leinster are successful in signing Craig Casey, and say he joins them next season, does this kind of further, does this like hammer home your idea that the rivalry between the two provinces is starting to wither away? Well,
I don't think Leinster should be taking 20-year-olds from Munster. I just don't think they should. Like, if he was 24 and couldn't get in the team because Conor Murray's there and decides he wants to leave, that's a different situation. But like, if you're taking the best young players, even though you already have the best academy system by a mile, like, it's not the right thing. And I don't think it's actually going to happen, because I think Leinster have 3 scrum halves around that age that they really rate.
And is that because, do you have that view because of the strength of Leinster's academy, or because of the fact that this is Leinster and that is Munster?
Well, what's the point of it being Leinster and Munster? What is the point of it? I'm asking, what is the point of having an identity if you just are going to go, it doesn't really matter. We're actually all just paid mercenaries plying our trade for a team. Because that's ultimately what the truth is. but you try and make that not be the case as much as you possibly can. It's why the Man United team that had the class of '92 on it will be the most beloved Man United team in the Premier League era. It's why the Busby Babes were the most beloved English football team, really. How many of that Liverpool team came through the academy system? Almost none. Today I'm trying to think of the great team from, I don't really remember the first Shankly era, that team at all. I don't know anything about them. But homegrown talent equals people believing this team is my team, and that's important.
Is this not just kind of a symptom of modern sport and
Yes.
modern rugby in general, rather than being a symptom of, you know, Munster, Leinster tensions being at an all-time low, so therefore the rivalry is kind of dying between them?
But so you're actually talking about the same thing, right? They're not different things.
But like, why can't the rivalry maintain itself through decisions like this, when ultimately it is a small enough pool of Irish rugby talent?
Because then it's just a rivalry of fans, and that's fine. If that's what it is, it's just a rivalry of fans, and that's fine. But I
don't know. I thought the last time they played against each other, there was a good old rivalry of players going on there. But it's two decent fights.
Yeah.
No punches thrown. Granted, I'll give you that. There wasn't any uppercuts.
But they're all employees of the IRFU, right? And ultimately, that's the thing that you get reminded of. The veil gets dropped, the pretense gets dropped, and everybody's an IRFU employee to be moved around the board as chess pieces by David Nusafora, who is playing the Wizard of Oz, right? And if that's the long-term future for Irish rugby, it's hard to get too emotionally invested in it, right? And that would be the case if, okay, you've got these guys over here, here, and here, here, and here, and then we know because they're professionals, because that's their job, they're going to do a really good job.
There are other ways of channeling an identity, and that is, you know, getting behind the way Leinster are coached as opposed to the way Munster are coached. There is still a unique identity to both these provinces, no? Do you think, obviously your point is that it's not completely gone, but it is going in that direction.
Well, if you continue to do if we continue in the path, if this was to happen, who's going to be happy with that?
Would you be happy with this?
No, I said that. It's not the right thing.
Even if this guy is the next Conor Murray?
No, because it's your job as a team to try and create these things.
But it was that is Leinster doing their due diligence off the pitch. Good scouting, good talent identification.
And that's exactly what...
And, as I say, we're talking in complete hypotheticals here.
And that's their job, right? And that is their job. But that doesn't necessarily mean... So they're doing... The team who are employed to do that job are doing their job well, right? Like the Munster team who were doing the job when they were ringing up Joey Carbery and going, here, there's some talk of you joining Ulster. That's nonsense, right? You're not leaving Leinster, are you? He's like, oh, well, actually, I'm thinking about it. Oh, right, well, come down to us. Of course, you're in Munster in that situation when it's your job to win games, you're going to do that. But is it the right thing for the IRFU? I don't know. We'll see. In the long run, I don't know. It's
as we say, there's probably the kind of situation at the end of this is where Munster do offer him a deal, and then ultimately kind of a full, a long-term deal then essentially after this. And the Craig Casey one is going to be one that divides people if it actually goes through. To be honest with you, this story is it too far off the way the Carbery story was in the very early throes of the newspaper cycle around 15 months ago? That seemed like an impossibility. And I think it's kind of more of a symbolic thing when we talk about the Munster-Leinster relations, what this story might represent.